Happy Thursday afternoon, everyone. I am Margaret Hernandez, and I am excited to be here with my friend, colleague, peer, Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
And just to remind you, everyone who is going to watch this or is watching this now, that the Flex Your Influence Spotlight was designed to shed light on people, business owners that I run into, because I run into a lot of business owners in the work that I do, and to shine some spotlight on what they are doing to flex their influence. So, pretty much every person that comes on the show is making some kind of impact in their community, with other businesses, with a cause, a social cause. It's like no matter what these businesses that we're in, we find a way to make an impact. So, Vanessa, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. This is a new platform for me, so I'm excited to be here. Um, Business owner, go-to girl, and the president, and I started in 2017. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but also serving the community as a worship leader at church and serve on the board of NABO, Kentucky. So I'm excited.
Yes. And you know what? I was trying to think how long ago you and I met. And so I was wondering, when was your first WBC?
2015.
And that was in what city?
I think Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, that was in Minneapolis. Yes. Okay. So maybe that's where we met? Possibly.
That was Aaron Brockovich. So
Yeah. I was definitely there. Well, I just know that Vanessa and I, of course, met through NABO. That's kind of like a that's kind of like a common theme for every spotlight. I somehow, you know, imagine that we met at NABO. But most recently, I was really excited because Vanessa and I, um, we just had more time to connect at the different national events that we went to. And most recently, Vanessa, I just want to say how excited I was that you brought your daughter to Advocacy Day.
I was surprised that there wasn't more uh, youth there. I'll say youth. She's
Yeah.
only 18.
Yeah.
Um, but she absolutely loves it. And I've taken her to many events. She's done registration, she's done social media. She's done a lot for NABO and for Go To Girl. Um, but I think that one thing that she didn't think that she would pick up on is etiquette.
Oh.
And another thing that's different, because she's 15. So I'm like, Mean Girls don't go away. Not that there's Mean Girls in Nabo, but you know how there's little gossip corners or something,
Right.
um, or they'll talk about, maybe a bad member that came through. Like we all have those nasty
Yeah.
stories.
Yes.
And so I thought it was cool that she could see that we don't grow out of that. Like we still have girl problems when we get older.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was just really great. And as far as like the age and wanting to see that younger generation come, it just is going to happen organically. And it's not without trying. There's a whole next gen department at HQ that is trying to make an area of support for people like your daughter. So really excited to see where that goes. And I want to talk to you a little bit about Go To Girl. And this is a very hot topic and something that I think is so important. Um, and honestly, I am not a certified minority or woman business owner. And I know you're like, why? There's been a million reasons why. And I'm probably not the only person you will talk to who's been in business for 14 years and absolutely qualifies and still hasn't done it. So tell me, Vanessa, in your own words, what is most exciting about, working with someone like me or another business and when they finally get certified? What's that like?
Well, so I had corporate experience with the largest woman-owned minority-owned business. So I was in that space. I was the, minority in a minority company for a long time. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that at the time. But so I didn't start the business to do people's paperwork. And I like to just make that clear. And, go to girl doesn't mean that I only work with women.
You are the go-to girl.
I am the go-to girl, but I didn't start the business to do paperwork. I wanted to work with certified businesses.
Yeah.
And I got that experience with NABO members, and they're like, we're certified. What are we supposed to do with it? When my corporate job was eliminated in 2017. So it was about a year into the business. I met a lady. She said her finance team had failed for 3 years. She had a client asking her to be certified. She didn't know why she was denied. She didn't know how to fix it. And I had my Captain Obvious hat on. I know you probably know that commercial, but I was like, I really think that I can see what the problem is. She said, I'll give you this amount if you can fix it, like this challenge. And I'd certified my business. I'd been through that with my corporate job. And my nerdy brain was like, I could figure this out. So when she got certified, she was able to double her revenue with that corporate client. And, certification is a matter of
it's a game changer.
It's a game changer if you want to play. I mean, it's all pay to play system. Mm-hmm. So you're either a line item, right? Or you're in their supplier diversity bucket of money, for which they don't care where they spend it. I mean, the federal government has 23% set aside. Large corporations like Walmart, very few of them say we're going to do 10% women and 3% minority and 20% veteran. It's just this bucket of money. Now, I have had clients that have been certified and, we'll get an RFP awarded and they turn it down because, one, they didn't think they were going to get it, and their business didn't have the infrastructure to scale up. And so they didn't want their current clients to suffer, and they just weren't ready. I get a lot of
big deal, because I think when these businesses are going, if they're interested and they started going to like these events, it's always like, you need to be able to take on the workload. I think that was honestly something at the very beginning that held me back, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I think like I get a lot of referrals for startups, and I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to tell you that an LLC is better than an S Corp or, based on their tax financials. I'm not an accountant. I play one on TV sometimes. But it's a lot of work. It's not instant gratification. I'm just now, making traction and getting people that are finding me in databases. And one of the cool things is, because I'm a very niche service, right? It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's really cool when these corporations will say, we don't have anything for professional services in the diversity space. However, they will send RFPs to me and say, will you share this with your network? Now, sometimes that turns into mail money, where someone gets a good quality introduction and they're like, hey, we want to give you 10%. And I'm like, that's amazing. Yeah. That could happen a whole lot more, actually.
I love that. No, well, that's just like, you're putting yourself out there, so anything is possible.
It's such an invasive process. I mean, I tell people it's like a college degree for your business. But if people are not, didn't go to college, they could give a crap less, Yeah. Or they don't have the staff to scale up into that space. Or they just want to stay under the radar. They don't want their birth certificate and passport and all of this information. I actually had a conversation with a security company last week, and they had been certified locally in New York. And then he was like, well, where are all these documents going to be stored? And I'm like, the national software, NMSDC was the example. I'm like, their portal. And they're like, we don't want these documents in their portal. We could hack their system in 5 minutes. I was like, okay, well, I don't know how to overcome that, you know?
Wow. Well, that's maybe a conversation too that you have with, wow, that's
I mean,
crazy.
it's scary. It hasn't been hacked. There's been no breach. I'm knocking on wood,
Yeah.
that I know
But
of.
people in
But
that industry are like, it's like when in marketing, I can look at someone's marketing and say, oh, that's great. Or, oh, I wonder if that's working for them, because it's what we know, right? So they just see it. I
yeah.
would have never even thought about that either.
Well, I said there is an opportunity for you to reach out to them and improve their system.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm like, I just made a referral for you.
Wow. I love that. I so love that. Okay. So yes, that is all very exciting. Bringing people to that level, like to be able to double their income is definitely something that would make me excited. So
Or
I
you're
would,
just adding value. I mean, it's a differentiator
yeah.
competitively. So, like, there are some organizations that have done disparity studies and they're actually giving points for certified business owners.
Mhm.
So, if you and I are competing and we're apples to apples and I get 5 more points for my certification, I beat you out.
Mhm.
So it's a very competitive edge.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and there's lots of different ways. Nobody wants to be in RFP hell, trust me. But sometimes it's just necessary that you have to respond somehow. You've
Yeah.
got to put your credentials and capabilities together.
Right, because just because you have the certification, it doesn't mean you have all this new business. You got now the work starts. Now you're like eligible to start bidding on new work. So, it's funny, and this is like very transparent. I recently sent a proposal to someone, which would be kind of like my RFP, right, or my response to an RFP. And the gentleman said that my proposal wasn't as robust as he would like it to be. Now, mind you, he wanted it in like less than a day on the weekend. And I am on summer break. If you don't notice, I have a pencil holding up my hair and a shirt that says Coronado on it. So, I say that to say that like even that process of creating a proposal is like, and responding to an RFP, that in itself is like another job.
Well, and it is, and people outsource that to us. I mean, we're truly a business development firm at the core.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know you did that as well.
Yeah, so I build proposal content, and then I do the vetting of those proposals. So if it's a public opportunity, there are open records that you can request. But I mean, typically, if I've gone through and certified a client, I know their tax ID number better than my own, and I already have all of these documentations.
Yeah.
So I do the vetting. I would go on, do the research, go to usaspending.gov. I figure out, why me, why now? Who had it before you? What was the contract awarded at? And I give
Nice.
their clients an executive summary. And if it's less than 14 days, I will tell them not to respond.
Wow.
Don't respond because they're just doing it out of compliance and good faith effort. And they're really
Oh.
not allowing and being sensitive to a small business owner to put that kind of information together.
Yeah.
So 14 days or less, you just say no from moving forward.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, I mean, and also in the small business market, where most of my clients are small business, I do understand the tight turnarounds. Um, and actually it's a blessing in disguise that I didn't get this actual contract because it's a very short runway for what they want to accomplish. And so maybe in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I don't know if I want to work on this. So I want to put my team through this.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know what's funny? This isn't funny, Vanessa, but this is something that happened to me twice. I had a company reach out to me to say they wanted me to partner on an RFP. So the first time I gave I did the work. to write that part of the RFP. They got the contract and did not bring me on.
It's
She just
compliance. So good faith effort. So there are states who actually have law codes in place that monitor those good faith efforts and hold those prime contractors to that spend.
mm,
Most states do not. Kentucky does not.
mm.
Um,
California, do you know?
I think there's only 18 states that have it.
Wow.
Someone asked me earlier for that list.
Yeah.
I've got to look. I got to look that up. I can find
Yeah.
it.
Well, and it was also I wasn't thinking to even say, like, I want to make sure that I'm named, that my company or myself is named. And so then I knew to start asking for that. But the second one, I said, I asked for a stipend to write it because I'm like, I said, if we work together and we move forward, then I'll give you a credit, because I'm like, it took me hours
Yeah.
to respond directly to what they were asking.
So I had clients work with me, and then I started into this one system in Louisville to get them certified. And I'm like, hey, you've already been registered. They're like, there's no way that we were registered. And I'm like, no, it's cutting me out. It says you're already registered. So they went through a huge lawsuit with the prime that listed them. So the city was asking for their audit for their records for this contract, and they unbeknownst to them, they had no idea they were listed. They had no
Yeah.
idea who this person was. They did not have a relationship. And I'm like, and they're like, why am I being audited? They didn't even have the information in. They used their tax ID number, which is public information.
Right.
And
Wow.
yeah, so they went through this huge, huge lawsuit. I didn't follow it anymore after that, but it was crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it's definitely, I mean, I'm glad we're talking about some of these things, because I will say that in 14 years of business, I have worked with others who are certified, and the relationship did work out. So these certified businesses utilize our services in some way, shape, or form. And so that's been really nice. And honestly, I feel like I've been a little bit spoiled by that, Vanessa, but so I do see the value in being certified. Question for you. Do nonprofits get certified, or no? Is it just for profit?
Nope. Just for profits.
Okay, just for profits. Okay, great. So as you know, earlier today, Vanessa and I, well, you don't know this, but Vanessa does. We were on an Empower Hour call, which is a weekly call with virtual programming through NABO National. And we get into mastermind, and we were just talking about opportunities. And I said that I randomly am starting a nonprofit. And I'm saying it publicly for the first time, because I was just saying it in my head. And then my sister, and I were talking about it, and now I'm just saying it. And Vanessa, you said that you started your company on accident as well.
I did. So I was finishing my master's degree in 2013.
Uh-huh.
I started in 2009, a year after Taylor was born, with a 9-year-old, and my husband, we got married in 2007, and I had 3 bonus children. So I went to school, started my MBA one night at a time. It took me 5 years because the college was like right below my corporate job at that time.
Mhm.
So that one of the activities was to save, like start a business. What would you be called? And go through this whole thing.
Oh,
And I was always introduced as go-to girl. I did networking, I did sales and business development my whole entire life. So that was my nickname, and people would introduce me, Vanessa will know
wow.
someone who knows someone. So when when my position was eliminated, I told you most of the story, but I had a very nice severance. And then I picked up clients within the first week of, being let go or eliminated.
Wow.
Yeah. And about that time, I got this renewal in the mail to keep go-to girl with the Secretary of State. So it was like, I had paid $15 and I was like, oh my gosh, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
But it suited me well. I also own trademarked go-to guy. So my plan was always to build and sell.
Yes, that's good. hey, well, that still could happen. I mean, that's the lovely thing about an evolving business and seeing your business as evolving. When I first started and people would talk about exit strategies, I'm like, are you crazy? This is my baby. I'm like throwing my entire life savings and every dollar, every resource I have into my company. But now I see, I'm like, oh, there could be an evolution. And I've actually had several people ask me about partnering or purchasing Socialize LA. Could you imagine me not owning
I'm
it?
ready for someone to give me an offer I can't refuse.
Yeah, there you go. I could refuse it. I love that, Vanessa. I would love that for you because I mean, when I met your daughter and I learned about your other family business, I was just like, wow, you have an entrepreneurial, world. And I was thinking about your daughter and I thought she probably will have something that she creates and is her own. Um, and so she didn't start the family business, but she absolutely just has such a mind. And I go back to her because I was just really inspired because one thing I will say about how long we've been in business, I feel like we've started at the same time, is that we can get complacent. And I need to be like revived sometimes with that energy that I had at 28 when I first started. Because you get disillusioned, you get kicked in the gut, right? We have challenges. We have setbacks. Like again, being transparent. I just heard from a potential client that went with another company because my proposal wasn't what he wanted it to be. And so I say that with confidence because I'm going to take that, I'm going to learn from it. But also, it's like I was actually a little bit looking forward to the challenge, and then it wasn't offered to me.
Well, and that's some things that, like I'm working with a client right now, and she has an insane amount of business that she's put out there, um, and didn't get awarded for whatever reason. And I'm like, well, why didn't you get that? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know. Like, you should ask for
yeah,
um, a debriefing at least and some feedback
absolutely.
because you're not going to learn. And so if you've got $300,000 out there in RFPs the last 4 years, I mean, I would circle back. Like, things have changed. You've updated. You're not the same business today you were 4 years ago, even though it's
Right.
got the same title on it.
Yep.
Just like you said, we're always evolving. Um,
Always. Well,
and
we
I want to
should
know
be.
why. I want to know why.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because you
absolutely.
can't learn if you don't know.
That's right. That's why I asked too, because I wanted to know, no matter how bad it hurt or what it's like. I don't take it personally. It's like, I want to learn. But I was just going on that note, I was going to say something and I totally forgot. Darn. We were talking about the woman who had proposals out. Um, oh, the marketing. So that's where like your messaging comes in too, because it's like sometimes you do need to say the bold statements. And I feel like the more small business owners and women business owners, but small business owners fall into this category sometimes as well, where we just will not shine the light on how amazing we are for some reason. We just want to we want to keep it humble. We want to not be prideful. And it's like, but we have to understand that the only thing the people making the decisions are looking at is this piece of paper or 5 or 10.
Well,
So,
it's like when I have conversations with supplier diversity managers or procurement officers, they'll do these workshops. Um, I was on one today and it was horrible. It was horrible. I should throw them under the bus right now.
don't do it.
Um, I don't burn bridges. I don't burn bridges.
Okay, good.
Loose lips sink ships. I will just say it was a horrible experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but they're constantly like, you've got to build relationships and do your homework before you come to an event. And I'm like, we just came out of a pandemic. The only relationship I'm going to have with you and meet you in person is maybe twice a year if I put in my budget to spend the money to go to these big conferences,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And how am I going to be memorable unless I spill coffee on you or, give you some toilet paper in the bathroom? Like, how am I memorable, right? When you've met 1,000 people that day.
Yeah.
And we're only as good as the information that people put on their website. So, it's it's very narrow minded sometimes.
Yeah.
When you think of that perspective.
Yeah. And my response to that would be, to me, it's always up to me when I meet someone that either like intrigued me, inspired me, or I see potential business, either I do business with them or they do business with us. It's completely in my court to follow up. I don't care if I give my business card to 1,000 people. I have to follow up with those people that I want to talk to, because you just can't leave the people. There's just too many options. And like you said, like, even if you were memorable, how busy do we get the minute we get back from an event? And even the people that we wanted to follow up with, maybe those that even expressed interest in our work, we forget or we delay getting in touch with them. And I know this because I see it all the time. I tell people to reach out to me and they don't. And if it's not a priority to me, I'm not going to make it happen. When it becomes a priority, if I remember who you are, then I will reach out to you. But if not, and then that's where our marketing comes in, our website and any type of digital that we do, where we are just showing up, in the feeds of these people, that hoping that they'll just be reconnected with who we are, and, their affinity or their need for us, is reconnected. So.
And that's funny. In the NABO space, when those women put that LinkedIn, I got every person that was on that call that connected with me in LinkedIn and said,
Yeah.
I'd love to chat with you further. That is why I stay in NABO. And I know that's not a NABO plug, but the women get stuff done. They do what they say they're going to do 90% of the time. And it matters. But when we were talking on referrals and stuff, like, I'm a 3 strikes you're out kind of person. So we either have a conversation, be in an event, email, text,
Yeah.
whatever. Well, after 3 attempts, and this is like, through a period of time, it's not like stalking you 3 days in a row.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a time frame.
Yeah.
Then I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I am not chasing people. I am so over that. I had to do that for corporate jobs for so long. And I'm like, no. I give my clients 3 months to finish their certification. Like, I can't do anything without documentation. And, sometimes people never give me anything. And then they'll come back 8 months later and be like, is it done? I'm like, you do not follow our rules of engagement or the scope of work. So
Right. Yeah. And that's just like,
SOL.
having those boundaries and setting those expectations is just
Exactly.
like number one. And honestly, I learned that pretty late in running a business. So if you're listening and you have not done that, have your boundaries and, set those priorities, and also wear the hat of the expert. For a while, it's like I would, because I have such respect for the people that I work with, and I am, in general, a polite person. So it was hard for me sometimes to speak boldly like that. I mean, it's not hard when I'm talking to people that know me, but when I'm talking to people that are hiring me, it was a different. So anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but I could just feel what that would feel like in a business. It's like I
Yeah,
can't
I
move until
mean,
you can move.
my boundaries, 3 structure out what I practice, or, common courtesy is my core value.
Mm,
Um, I mean, ghosting is a thing now because, through COVID, I can't tell you how many times I was like, okay, well, she paid me and now I haven't heard from her. And
yeah,
then you just become genuinely concerned about people. Like,
right.
I care about your well being. Like, forget the project, but we were hot and going strong. So then you just become genuinely concerned that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Something's happened.
right. And also, like, this is something that I really think about too. And part of like my onboarding process and even the sales process, if it comes up right away, um, a lot of what I do too is helping the business owner and the marketing team feel less overwhelmed about the process because they in general have been bogged down by their marketing plan for years, and to them it seems like it's just like, how, Margaret, how are you going to do this? Like, they can't see what I can see, even though I can see the solution right now. It's like it's just going to take some time to plug it in. But so that is another thing, Vanessa, is, I mean, I would think that if I was going to go through the certification process, there's going to be like some mental stuff that needs to happen first, because I don't like gathering paperwork. I don't like writing
You know
disclosure.
what? I break it up into small pieces. The infrastructure is very easy. I
Yeah,
have created a whole lot of templates because
nice.
people, like, you've been in business for 14 years. When's the last time you updated your resume?
Actually, I updated my resume during COVID because there was a tiny bit of me that was like, what's going to happen after this? Well, and also, I like to have it because once in a while I have potential clients who would rather hire me um as a contractor, and they need the CV.
Yes.
But so I'm a little bit different. But before that, never.
Yeah.
My last job was like my last corporate job, which was in 2008.
I mean, the most of it's like financials, and then personally, it's, birth certificate, passport, and
Really?
it's not. I mean, I fill in the gaps for a lot of different things. I have templates for an operating agreement. I've got templates for bylaws. I've got,
Nice.
you know, all kinds of answers. Like when I became DBE, which is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, I literally uploaded 23 documents that were not applicable to my business.
What?
23 documents.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you know what you're talking about. So, I mean, we've been talking for a while, and this is what I have known Vanessa for several years, but I will say in the last couple of NABO national events, we just had like opportunities to connect, and it's just been really great, and that's why we're just talking and talking, and we could probably be here for another half hour. But one thing I want to say that is, if you want to get certified, um definitely talk to Vanessa. And I know you said, Vanessa, this is not a NABO plug, and I know I say the same thing, but the truth of the matter is NABO has been an incredible resource to my business, and I joined um about 2 to 3 years after I started my company. And I've met the most amazing people. I've been inspired. Most importantly, Vanessa, I don't know about you, but like, it's the conversations that even sometimes happened prematurely, like the conversation about hiring. I remember my first WBC in Miami, women were talking about like their hires, their hiring. And I was thinking in my head, I could never hire. I couldn't pay for um, health insurance and vacation time. I didn't realize the levels of hiring. I was just like assuming. I assumed a lot when I started my company.
Well, and that's what we do because, like, I didn't have any entrepreneurs in my family or anything.
Oh, wow.
I'm still learning as I go along. I mean, I'm the first in probably like 100. I came from a very poor family. I think I'm the first now that's ever graduated high school for a long time or even went to college. So, um,
Wow.
yeah, it was very different. So I'm blessed with the success that I have. And I know for myself, like, I don't want to have a big brick and mortar and I don't want to have 100 employees. I like what I do and the impact
Yeah.
that I bring to my clients.
Yep.
And I know what I want for myself, and I know who I am, and I know, I'm good with that now. And it took me a long time to get there. I'm not a person that's going to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think I'm getting there too, to really know what I want in a company. And it's so funny being in social media, people assume that, that's like your whole life is on social media. But yeah, a lot of what I do is out there, but a lot of what I do is very quiet and private. And that's actually like my favorite place to be. Like not having to be on, that gets very exhausting.
Yeah, that's the one reason I hesitated for taking the president role this year is
Vanessa's going to be the president of her local NABO chapter, so thank you for
yes,
your service.
thank you. That was my one hesitation because I'm so behind the scenes. I mean, I have clients that have business with me that's never even seen me before.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with you.
And the thing is, and I think the reason for my like wanting to be liking that time when I'm behind the scenes is because when I'm on the scenes, I really truly am looking to make an impact. Like even just talking to you, Vanessa, I'm thinking, who can I connect Vanessa with for more business, like to bring business? Because you're doing amazing things. And sometimes it's just a matter of that's why we market. This is marketing what we're doing right now. We're marketing your business, but in a way where we're just discussing it, which to me is beautiful, which is another reason why I love this show. Earlier, Vanessa asked if I wanted to cancel because she knew what a crazy day I had today. And I was a few minutes late to our call. And I said, Vanessa, no, because this is like one of the things that's like fueling the inspiration in my business right now is having these conversations. But, so making an impact is that's how I show up. And so sometimes you don't want to make an impact and you just want to like sit back and watch Dateline.
I do watch that. Oh yeah, I do watch that. I'm guilty.
Guilty. That's one of the reasons why I keep Peacock. So anyway, wow, we're almost at 40 minutes. I think this might be our longest Flex Your Influence spotlight, but I do want these to be as long as they need to. And I do appreciate you taking the time from your family, your businesses to be here. You do have a podcast. I don't have the link right this second in the show notes, but I'm going to add that. But the link to your website is there. So if you are in need of just even looking at what the certification process is going to look like, I would assume, Vanessa, you'd be a great person for someone to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast is out there. It's allowed me to have conversations. And when we talked about, what's my impact, and I am an advocate, true and true. And, I don't like the red tape that we have to go through. I don't like that, women and minority and veterans and LGBTQ, like, we are so dominant as a force. I mean, it's going to shift. The tables are going to shift, and it's going to be equal opportunity. But I'm an advocate, true and true. And I started the podcast to, one, expose the red tape. It's a little controversial, but it does create some clarity. Because people are like, well, you just do business this way. And I'm like, no, you don't have a website. You don't even have supplier diversity in your search bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just expose this stuff because they need to be better. And, I'm this child on the ground kicking and screaming and saying like, no, it's.
Well, you
It's a
know?
lot. It's red tape, and we
Yeah,
shouldn't have to go through it. And I think
yeah,
you pay to play, you know the rules, you can play the game. I'm fine with that. And um but they're good conversations, and it allows people to share their story, which is exactly what you're doing. So I love that too.
oh, good. Well, I can't wait. I will definitely be listening in on that. And a little controversy is sometimes important. And it is. I mean, that's how change comes about. And again, it goes back to, pushing a little bit to find out some things, because the more you know, the better decisions you can make.
Yeah, and eventually I've seen podcasts turn into revenue, and that's been in the back of my mind. Turn this content into a book, or in some coursework
Yeah.
around establishing supplier diversity programs. So it's a work in progress. It's not going to be instant gratification,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yep. And then in time, you may even have people who want to sponsor your podcast, which is another way to monetize it. So,
Yeah, that's the revenue, because I do have
yeah,
a friend that's making some good money off of it, and
yeah,
so they'll say, this podcast is brought to you by Margaret Hernandez.
yeah. I love that. I love that. My new nonprofit is basically going to be that, because basically it is all about bringing light to business owners. And so I'll be announcing that really shortly. But I mean, and if you follow me on social media, it wouldn't be hard to find my nonprofit that I'm starting. I just now got a little bit nervous because I wanted to get everything like done. Yeah. So, and it's just being comfortable saying that, because Vanessa, honestly, I was like, I would never want to have a nonprofit, is what I don't know why. Maybe I just thought they were a lot of work.
Well, it is. I mean, have you looked on open or grants.gov?
Well, I did. The person who I connected with to help me get this up and running was like introducing me to all of these things. And I'm like, okay. So yeah. So
You're
there,
ready to hire someone, you're going to need a grant writer.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think I actually have a grant writer, but I haven't thought about needing her yet. Anyway, well, this was amazing, Vanessa. Please send my love to your amazing daughter. And I thank you for talking to us about certification. You definitely answered some questions for me. And I hope this piques people's interest, because it is a game changer. I believe that.
It is. It is. But I'm not a hard sell either. So I'm not aggressive. And I can tell when I interview someone whether they're going to make it work. I mean, no one's ever said, I'm sorry or regretful that I got certified. I mean, no one ever says that ever. Um,
Right.
but there are companies that's been certified for years and years, and they're like, we've never gotten anything. And I'm like, well, have you done this or have you done that? And they're like, oh, we didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So, that's why we exist. And it's fun. I'm very passionate about it.
I love it. Well, I look forward to seeing you in Austin.
Yes, I'm
All
registered.
right. Yay.
Haven't booked a flight,
Wonderful.
but Taylor's coming.
She's coming.
Yeah.
Amazing. I look forward. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Very good to know.
She will she knows she still needs to reach out to you, but
Oh, good. Yeah.
yeah, we've had some personal family stuff going on. So
Yeah, no problem. And anytime I'm like, reach out to me because I want to be a resource, it's always like I meet people, and especially like budding entrepreneurs, in all types of places. And so whenever she can, that's the right time, because it's not like I don't have a nice calendar full of appointments. But anyway, yes, I'm here when she is ready. But thank you so much for being here. And we will see you all on the next one. And remember to be wildly excited about the possibilities and flex your influence. Bye, all.
bye.